Hello again. My name is Daniel Young. I'm the owner and founder of Adapted Perspective and the Adapted Perspective channel, where uh, tongue twisting, where I help you make your dreams a reality. If you've seen any of my past videos, you understand I love strategy and especially targeted strategy. That awareness is key because I'm going to continue sifting these financial memes and using our investment strategies, along with some everyday common sense and down to earth common sense to evaluate and critique them. So reminders, this is an unedited video. Who knows what you'll hear in the background as I film these in my house, like my cat scratching the litter box. Reality TV. So if I show no, I'm not going to show strategy on closed-end funds today. Disclaimers. So if you want the full list of disclaimers, by all means, check out the description. The only one I'll mention here is that I am not a financial advisor. I am a financial strategist. Please know that I'm not out to slander anybody as I make these videos. I'm interested in separating the good from the bad when it comes to financial advice and overall advice, because none of us want bad advice as we navigate our finances. So let's get into things. Share my screen. So this is the Adapted Perspective Pinterest page. I'm working off of this income memes board. And as we get to the bottom of that, here's where we've been. And we're looking at this one today, which is already up over here. I mean, you can read my notes. It's not all or worth your while. It's not a horrendously bad meme overall, but not all are actually like, it says 16 ways to invest your money, but not all are really, worth your while. Not all are money based. So if you've watched my videos, I like closed-end funds. That's not individual stocks or index funds. I think the growth of index stocks over time actually eats your money through inflation. So while that stock goes up 10% over 5 years, if they're not paying you a healthy dividend, then just because it's gone up 10%, it doesn't mean you've actually gained 10%. Generally, you lose money. Index funds, there's a better way. There's a better way. For both of those things, if you want to learn more about investing, check out the portfolio playlist and learn about closed-end funds where you can get into the market cheaper with, from my angle, less risk. But you get into it cheaper, you get an automatic diversity within sector or however your closed-end fund is built. You get an amazing dividend, like 8% plus. And with the market low right now, I mean low for whatever reason, you could say it's the Fed, you could say it's the economy, you could say it's inflation, you could say it's China, you could say any number of things why the economy is dipped, and there's several legit ones and not legit ones. But when the market dips, it's a great time to buy. Like a ton of people sell and the market dips, and that's the time to buy. Cryptocurrency sounds great, but the cryptocurrency market even has dipped as well. The idea of the cryptocurrency is that it's independent of the Fed and independent of the banking system. However, if the Fed they've already made a digital currency, but if the Fed turns a digital currency and the Fed rules over cryptocurrency, then it's still the same problem. Like it's a decentralized form because it doesn't exist at a bank. But if the Fed is defining cryptocurrency, then you're still really dealing with the same thing. Gold goes up and down. Silver goes up and down. It has worth in and of itself, but you don't get a reward for holding it. REITs, real estate investment trusts, those, I mean, that's a decent way to invest your money. You can find those individually. You can also find them on the market. We're invested into at least one in our closed-end fund portfolio. Bonds, decent depending the timing of the market. Collectible cards, there are lots of cards and very few are collectible. It's kind of like stamps. It's like coin collections. I inherited a coin collection, and half the coin collection is still in circulation. So, despite those coins being mint condition, if you're trying to find a set, like so they're individually wrapped inside a cellophane pack that's like the size of a 4x6 note card. Maybe they're collectible as a set to somebody, but they're not even 25 years old. So I think my grandmother paid, like $5 or $10 per pack, and right now they're not even worth it. So knowing what to buy and knowing what's collectible and what's not just being sold on QVC is this will be collectible one day. Those are two different things. Real estate is generally a solid investment. It just comes down to, can you invest? Um, like, what's the market in your area? Are you willing to buy outside your area? Do you have enough enough down payment? Do you know the business side of things? Uh, the next one would be your own business. Yes, you can invest in your own business. There are lots of different ways to do that. Kind of depends on what business you have. Um, Peer-to-peer lending. If I loaned you 5 grand without any stipulation, and you never paid me the 5 grand back, now I've lost 5 grand. If I loan you 5 grand and say, hey, don't worry about it, pay me back, like no interest, no issue, and you pay me back 5 grand, great. Like, I haven't lost money. But depending on your philosophy of things, maybe you've lost money because of inflation. Like, it took you a year to pay it back. Now my 5 grand is worth 4% less. I helped somebody out, but I also lost money over time. The Forex market, or the foreign exchange market, is very much like cryptocurrency. It's a very interesting market. Some people say they do really well. Most people do not. Um, Gosh, from our side of things, we went with a foreign exchange broker and not happy with the system. Lost a good chunk of money. It, the price of the investment was that, well, the cost of investing was the money. What we got was a really healthy lesson, and this isn't for us. And um, we'll say a lack of trust in some people. Startup investing, depending on what you invest in. Your education, believe it or not, is probably one of the most risky things here, because you can invest in education, but you have to wonder, pending your university or pending what you're doing, you're either getting educated or you're getting indoctrinated. And most liberal grand scheme thinking schools these days are not liberal in the sense of they're teaching you all of this stuff. They're really just teaching you one thing on one angle, and you have to follow that angle. A liberal arts education used to be an education of everything, like a multifaceted person, or um, you learned a little bit of everything because you didn't really know what you wanted to do. Like, that was a liberal arts education. Currently, well, and even then, so liberal, if you were a liberal in the 1960s, you were open-minded and would hear all sides. Didn't mean you got angry at all sides. It was, you would hear all sides and you were okay with that. But if you think of a liberal these days, it doesn't have the same connotation. The same is true for liberal arts. If you're going to a liberal arts college and university, it's not going to give you an equal opinion of everything. It's going to skew your mindset one way or the other. You can invest your money into your health, but it's more like a time investment, because you could pick a fitness place $30 a month to use their space, but are you willing to go and spend 30 minutes there a day? Right? If I'm going to pay for something, I'd rather pay for an app and do it at home. Then I don't lose time traveling back and forth. And then the last one, 16 ways to invest your money. You can, and I have no idea who makes this page, which is Either I cut it off or it wasn't on this page to begin with. But to follow anybody doesn't cost you any money. So 16 ways to invest your money, you could follow this page, but it doesn't cost you anything. So you're not actually investing your money. Um, Kiyosaki's take on investments are buy assets, but also buy things the Fed cannot print. So you buy oil, precious metals, real estate. Um, he advises against bonds because government prints bonds, but tons of companies print bonds. Um, on my angle of things, individual stocks, index funds, cryptocurrency, forex market, all of those in we'll say I'll split them. So individual stocks and index funds, I would much rather buy a closed-end fund. And if you're going to sink 40 grand into crypto or 40 grand into forex or however much money, like if you have that much money to just dump into one of those investments, you're much better investing in real estate. 40 grand into real estate will grow like no other market. If you go to a bank and say, hey, can I borrow 60 grand? Sure. What do you want to buy with it? I thought about investing in the stock market. Most people will say no because most individual stocks don't pay a dividend. Like if you bought Apple, they don't pay a dividend. Maybe it's a 0.5%, but they don't pay enough to where you could pay back that 60 grand loan. Same thing with index funds. Crypto, same thing. Forex, same thing. But if you said, hey, can I get a 60 grand loan? Sure. What do you want to do with it? I want to buy a property. Great. Give us more info. Will it generate enough income to cover will all of your expenses and this, including this loan, will all of that be covered based on your income? Yes. Perfect. We would love to loan you 60 grand because you can pay them back. Closed-end funds, you could take 60 grand invested in the closed-end funds and get an 8 to 10% yield and take your dividends, which the market would, so their capital gains that you would get taxed on them, but you could take your dividends and then pay off your loan. Problem is finding a bank that would actually cover or be not cover, but finding a bank that would actually be okay with lending you 60 grand to still invest in the stock market. So this meme overall, it's not a bad meme. It is 16, well, it's 15 ways because that last one is not an investment or investment of money. It's 15 ways to invest your money. It doesn't tell you which are good, doesn't tell you which are bad, doesn't tell you where you should go. That's where you have to know your filters and you have to know your lane. But about the best way to put it, like, should you take this exit or should you take the next? Should you watch out for the pothole? Should you skip this? Like, careful, the guardrail is closed, right? All of that stuff. You have to know what you're doing and you have to be able to sift through this stuff. And it's a pretty meme. But overall, there's really not a lot there. Right? The best things they've said are real estate, your business, your education, and your health. All 15 of these have not convinced me to follow their page. But that's me. So I will call it there. So if you like the content, consider subscribing to my channel, hit the like button, and then head over to Facebook and join my group there called Navigate Your Finances. Remember, you're the captain of your ship, right? A ton of people want to help you, and your ship will go wherever you steer it. So make sure whoever you're listening to, which I completely understand this video falls into the lump of everybody else, right? Whoever you're listening to, make sure they're leading you in a good direction, right? And then steer your ship where you need to go. So whatever you've got in front of you, if it could happen on its own, it would have happened on its own, but it hasn't happened on its own, which means you're going to have to make it happen. If you want something different, then you're going to have to do something different and then make that happen. And in the process, in the journey, in the adventure, as you go forth, people will pay attention the longer you go. Be like, hey, I'm going to do this. They'll say, great. I hope it goes well. And the friends you talk with often will be like, hey, how are things? And you'll talk, right? But the longer you go on that journey, the more people out of your nexus, the more people out of your friend group will start to pay attention. And when you do something positive and different and gets them excited, then they'll ask questions because you've shocked them and they're curious what you're up to. So make it happen. Make your dreams happen and then shock your world and then teach somebody else and help them on the journey. This is Daniel Young signing off. I will see you all on another video. Bye-bye.